Ladies and gentlemen, it is pretty safe to say that news on the anniversary, the drama surrounding Wuthering Waves' anniversary, is going a little bit haywire. A lot of people are upset about things like the 12 banner system, about things like a lack of pulls despite having 37, as well as, of course, the big one on top of it all, no free 5-star, no free Zani, no free Kachona. And boy, oh boy, the number of posts that you see on this subreddit talking about the issue, talking about things, let's just go ahead and sort by top over the past week. We'll just see some of the posts that are happening over here. All right, a cool gameplay clip. Chinese players are spamming this comment, talking about how the rewards are skipping. It's a comedy. The disappointment is crazy. No free 5-star. Predatory banner, paid skins, flight still not available. Kuro is becoming the HSR devs. More fan art. You were supposed to destroy the Hoyoverse, not join them. There's a lot of stuff going on over here. Obviously, there's like some good posts or some horny posts, but a lot of people complaining about all of the different issues. And this is the thing. Across all of this sea of what I consider to be a bit of an overreaction, basically saying we need to kill Kuro Games.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of the game. They're basically just the Hoyoverse developers now.
All of this stuff that's going on, all the different narratives being spread, right? I think there was a post over here, 300k comments on Billy talking about the entire anniversary. Yeah, we all know how well CN players are able to control their emotions, right? Yeah, they sent assassins to Dewey because he made bunny suit skins in Honkai Impact 3. They also cats that look like Scaramouche, a character and villain from Genshin Impact. We all know how well adjusted this part of the player base is, and across this sea of muck, across this entire disaster, there was one post in particular that I found to be actually very, very, very good and very, very, very level-headed. And I wanted to get into it because my oh my, I am so glad that there's actually members of the community, and it's not just content creators that are sharing this take. On the community's broken trust and feedback. Been playing Wuwa since 1.0, and honestly, what a ride. Great content, quality of life updates, awesome characters, no power creep, and devs who actually listen. This is 100% true. You can still use Gion's 1.0 team with Mortiphy and absolutely bulldoze content in the game. The combat is unmatched. Also true. Visuals are stunning, traversal is fun, and the story keeps evolving. Oh, by the way, thanks to Night Vigil Enjoyer for this post. Wuwa is easily the best in its genre right now. I don't think very many people can argue that. That said, yeah, the anniversary rewards were disappointing. And this is the take that pretty much every single CC, every single person in the space can unilaterally agree on. The rewards are not that good. But the reaction from the community, it's equally disappointing. And I think this is a sentiment that a lot of people can share. There has been an absurd overreaction, and we'll explain why. Saying things like, Kuro is just as bad as Hoyoverse. Let's just see if we can find some proof to go along with these accusations, right? Oh, yeah, we got one at 5.6k upvotes. Kuro is just as bad as Hoyoverse. They've destroyed my trust. Let's see if we can find one that directly addresses that. Yep. In light of recent events, yeah, producers are not your friends. We're not getting all of this stuff. Yep. They've destroyed my trust over a lack of freebies. Just shit like a free 5-star or pulls is just troubling. Or it's just puzzling. Feedback is good. Saying the rewards are not good is good. But constructive feedback, actually saying what can be fixed, what's wrong in deep detail, and then indicating how to make it better, that is better. If the takeaway from the community after a great content streak, basically every single update from, I would say, maybe 1.3 all the way to version 2.2, if the takeaway from the community after that great content streak since release is just all of that doesn't matter if there isn't enough free stuff, then why should the devs feel motivated to keep pushing quality? If people are all under this impression, right, that
Kuro no longer has any goodwill from the community after these terrible anniversary rewards, all of the hard work that they've put in over the past 6 months means nothing because of these anniversary rewards,
then why would the devs feel motivated to keep pushing quality? What is the point in them putting an effort to make things like quality of life every single patch, put in things like echo loadouts, put in things that are clearly designed to make the gameplay experience better, even though they're actually losing money from it. You do realize that all echo loadouts do is incentivize you not to roll as many echoes. There's a reason why Genshin Impact doesn't put in echo loadouts or HSR ZZZ, because they don't want you to actually share that equipment between characters. They want you to buy materials to upgrade artifacts, at relics, disk drives from the shop, and then have a separate set for each character because they're making it inconvenient for you to share them. And then Kuro goes in knowing that you can buy Echo EXP from the store. You can buy tuners from the Coral Shop, and they're putting in Echo loadouts to make the gameplay experience more convenient for you as players. We're just brushing all of that aside, and saying, this company is now just as greedy as Hoyoverse. They've betrayed me in every single way possible. I have been wronged severely by these greedy developers, and now we must gain vengeance for the wrongdoings that have occurred. We must uninstall this game and quit it. There are so many people saying these absurd things, acting like literal spoiled children, and refusing to at least acknowledge or maybe just even remember everything that these devs have done over the past 6 months. All of the quality of life, all of these updates, just because they didn't get a free 5-star. Like, this, to me, the analogy that I've made is like you, as a kid, wanting a PS5 for Christmas. Your mother goes out to the store and, not knowing that you want a PS5, she instead buys you a Nintendo Switch. She comes back home. It's Christmas Day. You unwrap your Switch and you throw a fucking fit. You throw a tantrum. You throw that Switch on the ground. You say, it's not enough. And you call your mom a whore. And then run out of the house, run away from home, and then go get hit by a bus or something. Right? That is basically the equivalency here, where you didn't get what you wanted. You didn't get what you expected, and you throw a tantrum. You disregard all of the prior things that your mother, or in this case, Kuro Games, has done to make your gameplay experience good, to actually improve the game, to make rapid scales in how playable, how much fun, how much variety there is in the combat, and the fluidity, and the lack of power creep in the roster. 1 year later, all of that progress, you're throwing all of it away and painting this narrative that they're now one of the most evil companies in gacha gaming, one of the greediest ones ever, because 37 pulls wasn't enough to you. And that's the thing, people can agree that 37 pulls isn't enough. Just like how you can say, once you get that Nintendo Switch instead of the PS5, that you're disappointed that you got the Switch instead of the PS5. But that's the thing, you can also simply not throw everything away and claim that there's no more goodwill, that your trust has completely eroded just from something like that happening. Because guess what? I don't think your mother would be very happy if you called her a whore and then ran away from home because you didn't get the birthday present or the Christmas present that you wanted. Just like how these devs are probably looking back on all of the effort that they put into launch, right? The crunch, the endless hours that they put in near the launch of the game to fix it on release, the crazy amounts of quality of life that they put in across every single patch. They're probably not very happy to hear that this is the reaction to people not getting a free 5-star. They're probably just thinking, damn, should we even give a shit about quality of life anymore? Let me just pull up an old live stream that they had before. Y'all remember this, the Black Shore broadcast? This was one of the best live streams ever. Y'all remember this section over here?
使用了错误的道具。这样的反馈我们有收到过很多，因此我们优化了道具备选
Do you think that they should care
提供的各类优化
anymore
意见建
if
议。
this is the response
谢
that
谢
they're
大
gonna
家
get?
对我们明朝项目组
Do
的
you
支
think that
持
they're。gonna thank the players that much anymore and ask them for more feedback?
漂泊者保证，优化一定是我们项目组长期
Is this something that they're gonna put a lot more value
我们
in?
会不断的优化各个平台的游玩体验。
Or are they just going to actually take a play out of the Hoyoverse playbook? Because you want to know what the Hoyoverse playbook actually is? With people saying that they're now basically one and the same because of anniversary rewards? Let's dive on into it. They're improving the game to make more money. Yes, that's how companies work. Yeah, that's the goal of pretty much every single game ever made. They want to make more money. But unlike many others, they're improving the actual product instead of just milking us with power creep and shady monetization. Hey, maybe next anniversary, we're just going to have a spending event. Maybe we're just going to have a spending event with things like substat rerollers, all of that stuff. Hey, you pay 250 bucks, we'll give you 5 substat rerollers. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? That'd be a pretty easy way to milk the player base, right? Because people want those substat rerollers so much. They want those perfect echoes so much, don't they? They could just be exactly like Honkai Star Rail. Put in things like rerollers free 5 stars in the shop, free light cones in the weapon store. Oh, but if you spend like 250 bucks, you'll get a head start. You'll get like 5 of each and 5 of everything. They could just do that, right? Because wouldn't that be an easy way to make money? Wouldn't that just be super simple for them to do? Just create a spending event. If the end result of all of this work that the devs have done is that the community will destroy you the moment they don't get enough freebies, why not just do the same exact shit that Hoyoverse is doing? Why not just have a spending event? Why not just have substat rerollers that you buy in the shop for like 30 bucks? You get like 5 of them. Why not release new characters that are more powerful than the last every couple of weeks? Instead of releasing characters like Cantarella, where adding them to your account functionally doesn't give you very much benefit at all. And so there's some of the most skippable banners ever. People are complaining about Shorekeeper's banner being a week long. I get it, right? Or it's 10 days long. I get it. But this is the thing. You basically could have just saved since version 2.1 because Phoebe, Brant, Cantarella, Camellia, all 4 of those units are some of the least must pulls in the game because Phoebe is just a spectral damage dealer. Brant is a fusion damage dealer and healer. You can just use Encore instead if you need fusion. Guess what Cantarella does? Basically fucking nothing at this point in the game. And Camellia, a Havoc DPS. You wanna know what every person has on their account just from playing the story? They have an S6 Havoc Rover. They have an S6 Havoc Rover, a Havoc DPS. And so every banner prior to Shorekeeper, starting from version 2.1, has been one of, and honestly, the second half of 2.0 with Rosia, that's been some of the most skippable banners in the game. And this is the thing, right? That's something that Gotcha Smack over here went into, right? This is something that Gotcha Smack was talking about how Shorekeeper was the only must pull. But then you see all of the characters prior to her are just absolutely, completely unnecessary. And so if you made the decision to, yeah, pull on units that weren't needed, and Shorekeeper is the only must needed unit, then yeah, unfortunately, you are going to have to either spend or you're going to have to skip if you're a free to play. And that's the thing. When they're not making the units as needed as they are in HSR to clear the content, where if you skip banners in HSR, kiss the MOC goodbye, kiss Pure Fiction goodbye, kiss all of this endgame and all those rewards and all that progression, kiss it goodbye if you're not keeping up with HSR's banners. And that's the thing. These devs could do the exact fucking same thing as HSR. They could just start releasing characters with global passives, but just make every new release ridiculously more absurd than the last. Wouldn't it just be awful, right? If Curl's just like, fuck it, let's throw in the towel. Fuck these players. Let's just milk Wuthering Waves for all it's worth. And then every single character that you see on the screen over here gets power crept because they've been kept at relatively the same level for such a huge period of time. And then they just decide, let's pull an HSR. Let's pull an HSR and just make this entire roster of characters fucking useless. Because that's how it is in that game. That's how it is in that game. Oh, good luck playing your fucking Blade. You want to see over here? Oh, I think Gotcha Smack pulls up the HSR chart as well. Yeah, let me see over here. I think at about like this mark over here, you see where it hits version 2.1 and you see Adventurine and Acheron? Every other character before this is like pretty much fucking useless. There are like maybe 1 or 2 standouts like Ho-Ho and Ron May. Yeah, everyone else is like actually like not playable. They're like actually completely fucking useless. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, there's maybe like 3 or 4 of them that can still be used. And I guess Acheron is pretty dog shit right now apparently as well. Imagine if that becomes the state of the game because you've incentivized these devs to no longer give a shit. Because who cares, right, about building goodwill? Who cares about putting an effort into actually improving the fucking game if you're gonna have a bunch of little babies in the player base? A bunch of under-fucking developed brains in CN blowing a gasket, throwing a tantrum because you didn't give them enough free shit. And so, yeah, maybe they start doing a ridiculous amount of power creep. But we got a free standard selector. Yeah, throw in a free standard selector every once in a while as you're power creeping the shit out of the game and making it progressively worse every single patch and adding in fucked up stuff like global passives. Oh, totally. Awesome. Incredible. Amazing. Great idea, guys. And yeah, I guess we'll end up with the same level of community approval because we got people fucking saying shit like HSR is now the exact same as Wuwa. Wuwa is now on the same level as Hoyoverse in terms of their greed, their stupidity, and their inability to actually make a good game. Yeah, Wuwa is just dog shit. They're the exact same now because you didn't give me a free standard 5-star selector. Boy, oh boy, what a wild ride. What a wild thing. A wild situation for us to get to. And you want to know what will happen when they do that? They're probably going to make more money. It'd probably be easier for them to make more money after that. So this is the end quote from this post. So yeah, criticize the weak rewards, make sure to ask for more, but don't just nuke the goodwill across the community that has been built up over so many quality of life updates, so many amazing live streams where they're going ahead and they're begging people for more improvements, and they're actually implementing them into the game. They're actually putting them into the game, the suggestions that you have. And this is also riding on top of them adding a fuck ton of quality of life in the actual 2.3 live stream as well. They added things like a main stat selector on your echoes, instant respawn on the bosses, autos, like there's so much stuff that they added. And if you have like little nerds telling you that the main stat selector is useless, that's because they play the game for literally 8 fucking hours a day, and all they do is pick echoes for 8 hours a day. Yeah, it's not going to be useful to them because they're playing this game like it's a fucking job. Yeah, it's not going to be great for them, but it's going to be so good for 95% of players. It's going to be amazing, probably for 97% of players, if we're frankly being honest. But yeah, if you're just gonna go ahead and claim that like these quality of lives are useless because they don't benefit you specifically, that's such a boneheaded take to have. Especially if we're trying to think on behalf of the average player, like we are for our other takes. But then suddenly we become an elitist just for the parts that are good. Yeah, I wonder who's doing that. So yeah, don't nuke the goodwill when there's actively stuff that's good in the game. You can see that these devs are actually trying to improve it. Just be reasonable. And probably on top of all of it, just stop being little crybabies. It's the rewards are the one thing that people are getting upset about. And then people are acting like this is now the worst company in gacha gaming, despite one of the most stellar track records we've ever seen. And so yes, complain about the rewards. Talk about how they can be better. I've already come in with multiple solutions on how I would improve the rewards in a way that benefits the players and in a way that benefits Kuro Games as well. Things like the anniversary banner being 40 pity and fully guaranteed for the first 5-star. I've been on the record saying these things. And we're just gonna go ahead, right, and mass downvote all of these videos. You remember the Gacha Smack one that I showed you before? That one is sitting at a solid minus 450, even though this is one of the most level-headed and based takes and videos I've ever seen. A super level-headed video, and then we're just going ahead and we're mass downvoting all of this stuff. And then we're also saying shit like me, straight up defending the game, even though we're going ahead and giving solutions on how to fix the one thing wrong in the patch, the rewards. But we're just blanket statements saying, you can see over here, search or defend on that video.
When Wuwa has even worse rewards, you defend it. You are lost, brother.
This is the type of stuff that we're doing. And so with that, I want to end this vid on a final note because I think this rings truer now than it ever has before. I would really, really heavily suggest for anybody that's going ahead, browsing subreddit, browsing communities, trying to look at things like public discords or comment sections, you just keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of propaganda that's going to be spread. There's a lot of disgruntled players of other gacha games that are just waiting for the opportunity to jump down Wuwa's throat. Because let's be real here, Wuwa has basically been doing everything right. And that's what the take is. There are so many people from other games that are just looking for an opportunity to shit on Wuwa. And they're going to over-exaggerate. They're going to overreact. You can clearly see that all these people making these posts, they're disgruntled HSR players. Going ahead, getting mad, getting upset. And the same exact thing is happening to Gacha Smack's video as well. Same exact thing is happening to Tectone. It is happening to everybody. And so at this point, right, there's a pretty valid take across the gacha space, and it's this one. And in my opinion, if you don't fully agree with this take, you're just riding the hate train. You're just trying to farm hate against Wuwa. You're just trying to farm Hoyoshills in disguise that are cosplaying as fucking Wuwa players. Because this is reasonable. This addresses what's wrong. But it also keeps in mind the fact that, no, this game isn't dog shit. This game isn't ending. They aren't the same as Hoyoverse. You're pushing aside 8 months of amazing quality of life just because you're mad you didn't get something for free. And guess what? That's something little fucking kids do with no emotional control. Absolutely no temperament at all. These are the type of people that end up in the fucking special education classes in like elementary school because they're absolute freaks. And so that's the thing. Do you want to be one of those people? Is that what you want to be known as or known by? And if you're a CC, do you want to farm that type of audience? Like, is that the type of audience you want to farm? People that are gonna blow off the fucking gasket at the slightest hint that they're dissatisfied? Is that the type of audience you want to cultivate? So yeah, that's how I view it. That's how I think about it. And so with that, let me know what you all think. I think this is the best post we see on the subreddit so far, but it's not surprising. It only has 328 upvotes. And peace out.